I did read something that with these cuts, you can anticipate a loss of life of anywhere from 50 to 100,000 individuals, not in South Dakota, but immediately in the United States, just from loss of care. And then you throw in reduction in access. It's a huge factor.
It's a huge factor.
So our Medicaid, we have in South Dakota about 145,000 individuals on Medicaid, and 63% of those are children?
Yes, the Children's Health Insurance Program is part of Medicaid, is part of Medicaid, and they're large. And then your next is going to be the aged and then disabled. So you're really looking at vulnerable populations to be supported with Medicaid for the most part.
Yeah. And what the cost, the Medicaid dollars that are spent in the state, what group do those most go to?
Not typically. There are 10% of the Medicaid population, and typically the disabled, that actually spend about 60% of the Medicaid dollars because they require so much support and care. And a real bonus for South Dakota, and Department of Social Services worked in concert with providers and other disciplines to develop the home medical model, and these individuals with chronic conditions are then managed so they aren't in the hospital. You know, if you have someone with congestive heart failure and they become worse and become so very ill and then in the hospital, and then you get them better, and then they go along and they're not managed, and then they get worse, and then they go to the hospital. And you can do this with chronic illnesses such as diabetes as well. So it's expensive, and their quality of life is really impacted, because especially if it's an aged person with a chronic condition, their trajectory, they may get better, but they never get back to optimum. It just is a spiral going down where they will eventually fail, and your Medicaid dollar then has been spent, and you don't have a good quality of life or a good outcome.
And it's my understanding that those services are also being cut back by the state and whatever, with the budget cuts for the home health programs. That's a big.
It is, and it's pretty restrictive to the home health, not so much, but this is like a home. It's not modeled being at home, but they just use the word home as to keep, because some of that is taking place in the home, being monitored, chronic, like for congestive heart failure, weight and blood pressure, heart rate, and they would be examined. Some hospitals have used very cleverly their ambulance team, the paramedics, to go into the homes, and that's a model that I know is used a lot in Minnesota, and that there's been discussion and some movement towards that in South Dakota as well.